Hi, good morning, everyone. Let me just get some screens here out of my way, and we're going to get started in a little moment. I want to thank you for taking the time out of your schedules and joining me in this Getting Started class. The topic for today's presentation is Option Station Pro. So we're going to take a look at all the functionality and some of the basic things you can do on Option Station Pro to make your options trading so much more easier. Okay, so before we get started, we have to go through some disclosures. So keep in mind that every symbol and idea that I talk about in this presentation is for educational purposes only. It is not a recommendation of TradeStation. Also, active trading is not suitable for everyone, and it should only be done with risk capital, especially if you're trading options which carry a high degree of risk. If you'd like to read more about these disclosures, please visit our website at tradestation.com, and you're going to find all the disclosure information there. I wanted to invite everyone to our Getting Started channel. For those of you that are not viewing this presentation on the Getting Started, we're also live streaming this class to our YouTube channel. So if you're watching this on YouTube, you're welcome to join the community at youcantrade.com, and TradeStation is hosting a channel called Getting Started in there. We are live every Wednesday, and we showcase TradeStation's technology every single class. We also do a follow-up class at 1 p.m. Eastern Time where we take your questions. So if you feel that I didn't answer your question during the live presentation, or you had doubts about what I was discussing, please join me at 1 p.m. this afternoon, 1 p.m. Eastern Time, and I'll make sure to provide you answers and more clarifications. So please check out the content that is available on the Getting Started channel and also at youcantrade.com. One thing that I want to encourage everyone to do is once you sign up to the Getting Started channel, and you go to the dashboard, you'll see a notifications tab. And the notifications tab allows you to enroll in text messaging. And every time I go live, I send you a text message letting you know, hey, this is the class that I'm presenting on. This is the topic. You're welcome to join me. So notifications, it's all about text messaging and you being aware when we are live. For those of you that want to take your TradeStation knowledge and practical application to the next level, we have the TradeStation Masterclass. It's all about technical analysis, easy language programming. So we have a lot of things there that allow you to customize your TradeStation platform to become what you want it to be. So it's not only a high-level presentation where we show you where to trade and where to do this and that. It goes and dives deeper in TradeStation features and functionality so you can take full advantage of that power that has been built into the software. So make sure that you go to the masterclass, subscribe, and you can enjoy a 14-day free trial of all its content. So make sure that you at least take advantage of the free trial and check out what's happening in there. And if you choose that it's something that you want to keep, then you're welcome to maintain your subscription. All right, so let's go and start the topic that we're here for, which is Option Station Pro. So I'm going to switch over to my TradeStation platform. By the way, if you have any questions about the topic that I'm presenting on, we have an open session right here on You Can Trade. The chat, I believe, has been disabled on YouTube. Not sure, but I'm going to keep my YouTube presentation here on the side. Just in case you're watching on YouTube, you're welcome to submit any questions there. But I do want to encourage everyone to come over to the Getting Started channel on You Can Trade, because that's where the full interactivity is happening. I don't believe we have a link right there in the description. So it is youcantrade.com. You'll find the TradeStation channels in there. All right, so let's go ahead and start it. This is my TradeStation platform. In order for me to launch Option Station Pro, I have to do it from within TradeStation, so I do have to be logged in. And what I do is, let me see if I can point with an arrow here. I have to go to the apps right here at the top left corner of my TradeStation, and that will allow me to find all the different applications that you can launch within the TradeStation software. So I'm going to go here and open up Option Station Pro. All right. So that'll load OptionStation Pro right here on my TradeStation. It launches as a separate application, which is better because you're not, contained within a workspace. So this way you can take advantage of the full size of your computer screen. So right now, you see my OptionStation Pro. One of the things that I want to point out is that when you launch OptionStation Pro, many times in sequence, OptionStation Pro remembers what you were looking at, and it'll open up exactly where you left off. So over here, you can see that I was looking at a graph. This is a position graph. We'll talk about this a little in our presentation, but you can also see that I have Home Depot and I have a whole bunch of things that I added the last time I was using OptionStation Pro, which is fine. But I want everyone here to be aware that when you open up OptionStation Pro, it'll be exactly how you left it the last time you were using it. Sometimes that's beneficial because it'll allow you to continue where you left off. But I want everyone to also look at the different tabs that you can be on at any given moment. We have 4 of them. We have the Options tab, Analysis, Manage, and Search. So at any given moment in OptionStation Pro, you're going to be in one of those tabs. Right now, I am on the Analysis tab, and I can tell because that's the one that is colored in blue. It's highlighted, and that's the one that gives me the opportunity to perform some analysis on some options position. But I'm going to go here to the Options tab, which is the first tab that loads up when you open up OptionStation Pro. This is the one that provides you all the option chains. And at the very top left corner, you have a little box where you can enter the underline symbol on which you want to see those options. Right now, I have Home Depot up there, but I'm going to change it so that we can take a look at something that I haven't touched in my previous class. So I'm going to come up here and change this to, let's do Bank of America. So I'm just going to type it in. By the way, the box up there, it has smart searching capabilities, which allow you not only to enter a symbol, like I just did, BAC for Bank of America, but if you don't know the symbol that represents the corporation or the corporation that represents the symbol, you can type the name of the corporation and the search will also work. So I could have come here and typed up Bank of America, and you can see that it provides me all the different things that match what I'm typing up there. And you can select from the results if you want to, and it'll load that underlined right here inside my OptionStation Pro. So a couple things that I want to point out. This box right here at the top, this is called the Asset Panel. So it's going to give you detailed information about, in this case, Bank of America. You see the last traded price, you see volume, you see historical volatility, which is used in many calculations right here inside of OptionStation Pro. And it also tells you if you have any positions open on Bank of America. You can see that my positions box is empty, so I have no shares of Bank of America at the moment. The box here below, this big box right here, this is all the options chain. So this is where you see the chain of options for the underline that you have loaded. These are options of Bank of America, and I'm going to tell you how to trade the options that are shown here. So let's go ahead and get started. A little bit about what's here at the top. You have a little drop down on the far left that allows you to organize your options in specific spreads. So this drop down that you see here, you can select a spread and we'll organize the strikes for you automatically. So let's say, for example, that I want to see verticals. I click on vertical and you can see how the strikes right here in the middle are paired up against each other. Now the strikes are next to each other, meaning that there's no skipping in between. So we have the 22 and the 22.5. Then we have the 22.5 and the 23. So if you wanted to have this spread or this drop down that we're using, if you want that to build your spreads a little bit more wider, like for example, if I want to do the 22 and the 23, I have to tell my option chain spread building to skip a strike price in between. And the way that I do that is coming here to the filter drop down, and you're going to find a box for spread width. If I set that to 2 and I apply that change, you can see that now my strikes are paired up, skipping one in between. So now I see the 22 and the 23. I see the 22.5 with the 23.5. So you can let OptionStation Pro build the spreads for you by going to the drop down and selecting a specific spread, or you can build it yourself. To build spreads myself, I have to go back here to the drop down and select singles. So from singles, I can build any spread that I want. Let's say, for example, that I want to do the 23 and the 24. I'm going to use my control key on my keyboard to make what's called a multiple selection. So I'm going to click on the asking price of the 23. Right now it's $1.46. And you can see that as I hover over the asking price, my cursor also has a little box next to it that says buy. So you click on the asking price if you want to buy, and you click on the bid price if you want to sell. The color is also a great indicator. You know, blue, it's long, red is short. So if I'm going to be long the 23 strike, I click on the asking price, and you can see that it automatically highlights the whole row as an indicator that that's where you clicked. If I hold down the control key on my keyboard and keep it, down, I'm able to select multiple legs and combine them into one spread. So let's say, for example, that I want to do this vertical using the 24, but in this case, I'm going to short the 24. I click on the bid price, and you can see that the row turns red. So depending on which price you click on, the bid or the ask, the row is going to be highlighted in a specific color. But you can see that I have multiple selections. By the way, I let go of my control key, but the two things that I clicked on are still highlighted and are grouped right here at the bottom into what we call the trade bar. So OptionStation Pro assumes that I'm going to start trading this vertical, and it sends the information right there at the bottom. So I see the vertical down here. I have my two legs, I have my quantity, I have the expiration, I have the strike. So that's another way in which you can build spreads, is by holding down the control key on your keyboard and then just clicking on the specific legs that you want to include inside that spread. But let me go ahead and clear this out. I'm going to click on the X's right here on the trade bar. And then I'm going to click on this little button that says hide, just to hide the trade bar. One of the things that happens when you click on the bid or the ask is, as I said before, OptionStation Pro is going to assume that you are going to place a trade. And that's because on the top right corner, there's a click to trade. There's two behaviors. There's a trade and there's an analyze trade. If you leave it on trade, that's fine. Just be aware that when you click on a bid or an ask for any options, the trade bar is going to pop up from the bottom. That happens automatically. If you set it to analyze trade instead and you click on the bid or the ask, this is going to send you directly to the analysis tab. So let's say, for example, that I click on this 24 again, and I click on the, I click on the asking price of the 23. I'm going to click on $1.43. As soon as I do that, it sends that information over to analysis tab. It kind of switches me over from the option chain to the analysis tab. So let me go ahead and clear some of this information out. Let me delete the position, delete this position, and I'm going to clear all this out so that it looks exactly as it comes on by default. So there's nothing here. So just be aware that if you go to the options tab and you have that click to set to analyze trade, as soon as you click on the bid or an ask, it's going to send you to the analysis tab. We'll take a look at the analysis tab in a little moment. So I'm going to leave this on trade, and let's go ahead and put in our first trade, and I'll show you how you can manage that trade, not only the position, but also any orders that you may have open for that particular position. All right, let's go ahead and okay, let's by the way, I am seeing the chat here on YouTube and the chat here on You Can Trade. So you're welcome to ask me any questions about OptionStation Pro if you choose to do so. Let's go ahead and trade the 23. I'm going to buy it. $1.44 is a quote, so I'm going to click it. And as soon as I click it, this, of course, pops up at the bottom as a trade. And I'm going to try to get a better price than $1.43. I'm going to bring it down to $1.35. This is more like a limit order, and you're trying to improve your entry price. So I want to buy that call, but at $1.35. So it's trading at $1.44, so I do have to wait for the price to come down. But I'm going to send it as a day order, meaning that this is a working order for today. And I'm just going to click on this green button that says place order. Okay, there we go. So now we clicked on place order. It went away. You have the ability to look at the very bottom of OptionStation Pro. right there at the bottom where my green arrow is, that's information about the last order submitted. You can see that the order was received with a price of $1.35. I see a question here from Mike. He's asking about data and the ability to trade on simulated accounts using delayed data, and that's something that we don't allow on the TradeStation platform. So yeah, the data that you use on TradeStation is interconnected with your live account and your simulated accounts. It's the same data. So in order for you to trade or have trading capabilities, you have to have real-time data or be subscribed to the data packages. Now, I would refer you to our account representatives, whoever set up the account for you, and ask him if there's any way that you can get that data for free. Because I know that there's some data packages and some pricing plans that include some data. So maybe you are already on a plan that has real-time data, and this is a question that your account rep can answer for you. So let's go ahead and take a look at where that order went. I'm going to go here to the Manage tab. Third tab right there at the bottom. I'm going to go to Manage. Okay, right here at the top, I can see the category received. You'll see categories up here for any orders that have happened today. So if today you've had canceled orders, you should have a canceled category. This is my order. This is a buy to open. I can, resize my columns here. This is the symbol that I'm trading, which is a call with a strike price of 23. And the limit price that I want is $1.35. From here, from the Manage tab, I can make changes to that order. Let's suppose that I want to increase the chances of getting filled. So I want to change my price from $1.35 to $1.40. I can right click. I can do cancel replace. It pops up the order bar right here at the bottom. I can increase my price to $1.40, and then I can click on place order. So that's not going to place another order. It's just going to adjust the price here on my limit order from $1.35 to $1.40. So it's very simple to do. If I want to, let's go ahead and get filled here. So instead of using a limit order, I'm going to change this order to a market order. So I'm going to right click. I'm going to do cancel replace one more time. And right here on the trade bar, I'm going to change my order to market. And I'm going to place the order.
Order filled.
I get filled. Take a look at the very top. I have a filled category. It doesn't say received anymore because I don't have any active orders at the moment. But if I look over here on the positions box, I see two things. I see Bank of America and I see Disney. Disney, because I have a position open on Disney. If I click on the little caret on the left-hand side, it opens it up, and I have a call on Disney. Let me go ahead and clear this out, this one in particular, so that we can concentrate just on Bank of America. So I'm going to right-click on this single call, and I'm going to tell my OptionStation Pro to close the position. So I click here. Very quickly, I just switch it to a market order, and I place the order. It gets filled, and you can see how Disney just goes away. Very simple, use the right-click menu to affect a lot of the things that are happening here in the Manage tab, because you'll see a whole bunch of things you can do, like closing position, replacing an order. So do not be afraid of right-clicking on something in OptionStation Pro and see the different options that you have. Okay. Rodrigo is asking the premium price for different than the equity. For instance, the premium of SPY for certain strikes moves different than the equity of SPY. We may have to look at your data entitlements, Rodrigo. I'm not sure why you see differences. Let's see if we see those differences here for Bank of America, but it should be the same. The premiums that you get quoted for here in the options, all this price information in the bid and the ask, that's the premium that you have to pay for these options. This is coming directly from the exchange. So not sure what could be wrong. Maybe your data entitlements need to be reviewed. Okay, so let's go here to Manage again. This is my single call. Let me show you a very interesting way of managing this position. And I know a lot of you may be thinking about holding this call only if Bank of America has a certain behavior. For example, I have the right to buy Bank of America at 23 based on the strike that I have on this call. The price of Bank of America right now is $23.81. But what happens if it drops below 23? Let's say that it goes down to $20. I may not be interested in this call anymore. Why would I hold a call that's giving me the right to buy Bank of America at 23 if I can buy it from the market directly at $20? It makes no sense. So when the underlying goes in a certain direction, your options may just be worthless. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set a conditional exit that is going to close my call if the price of Bank of America drops below a certain value. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to right click on this single call, and you do that with a right click again. I'm going to do close this position. Close this position is going to take you to the trade bar. So do not be afraid of clicking it because you still have a chance of modifying the order. I'm going to close this position, and I'm going to do it only if Bank of America drops below 23. So what I can do is I'm going to set the order type to market because I'm not really sure what the price of the call is going to be if Bank of America is trading below a certain price. So let's go ahead and do this. I'm going to set the order to market, and I'm going to use this checkbox that says activation rule, which allows me to do these conditional orders. I'm going to click on the ellipsis here on the right, check price for activation. I'm going to enter the symbol for Bank of America, click on add to add the condition. And if Bank of America trades below $23, this is my activation rule. So if that happens, if Bank of America trades below 23, then it's going to send a market order to close my call with the strike price of 23. I'm going to click OK and then place the order. And that order goes here at the very top. It's received. This is a sell to close. And you can see that it's a market order. See under limit, it says market. So it's a market order, doesn't have a specific price. But if I look over here in the advanced column, notice that the activation is Bank of America less than 23. So this call will only be closed if Bank of America drops below 23. So it's a great way for you to make decisions on your options based on what's happening to the underlying, which I think it's a great benefit. So give that a try on the simulator. I always tell, TradeStation users, do not risk your own capital to learn the application. You can do this all on a trading simulator before you do it live. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at some other features. Let me go back here. Let's suppose that I want to cancel that order. I'm going to right click here. I'm going to cancel the order, just clicking on this option from the right click menu, and notice how the order now turns yellow. One of the things that I get asked many times is, can I have an OCO on that option that I have here? Well, technically you can, but not here in OptionStation Pro. So you do need TradeStation for that. So I'm going to do the following. I'm going to right click on this call, and I'm going to click on this option. This is a copy symbol. Copy symbol. And what I do is I come here to my TradeStation platform. Let me switch to TradeStation. I open an order entry tool that allows me to place OCOs like the matrix. I'm just opening up a matrix window here so we can take a look at it. Okay. You can see that this matrix window is loaded up with Bank of America, which is the underlying, which is not what I want to trade. I want to trade the call that I traded, right? So I'm going to press the space bar so that I can right click inside the command line and I can click on paste. This will paste the symbol inside the command line. I'm going to hit enter. And now take a look. Bank of America, the symbol changes because now I have the symbol for the call with a strike price of 23. I see my entry price was right here at $1.44. I see all the different prices, and I'm able to set an OCO with the buttons here on the left. So if I come here and I say, I want to do a bracket with a profit target and a stop loss, okay? And I'm going to set my profits and targets based on the movement of this call. Let's suppose that, okay, I got in at 144. Let's suppose that I want to do an exit. I don't know. I only have one call, maybe this is not a very good example. The P&L here is very slim, but rather than choosing something that is outside of the area of prices that I have here, I'm going to go here to the ellipsis and I'm going to do just 10 cents above and 10 cents below. Right now, by default, it's set to 50 cents. I'm going to do a 10-cent target and a 10-cent stop. And as soon as I do that, I click OK. And I click on this big button that says place OCO order. There we go. Now we have a target and we have a stop associated with that call. So are OCOs available in OptionStation Pro? They're not, but they are available inside of TradeStation. And it's only possible to do this on single legs. So if you're looking to do this on spreads, it's something that is not available. So let's go ahead and go back to OptionStation Pro and show you a couple more things that you can do. I have the call right there. Let me analyze this call in graphing so that I can know what's happening to this call. So I'm going to right click on the call and I'm going to analyze the duplicate. This is another way in which you can take whatever you have in the manage tab and send it to the graph so you can take a look at it. Let me analyze it. And notice that it sends that single over here to my graphing. Let me show you a couple things that's happening here. Let me set it to how it comes by default. I'm going to go here, expiration 1 day. By default, the graph is going to show you two lines, a yellow line and a blue line. The yellow line represents the value of your option or whatever you put in here in the analysis tab, because I mean, you can also do simulations, but whatever you put here in the analysis is showing you the P&L of that position. This is my call. This is the one that is checked right here at the bottom. It's a call expiring in October with a strike price of 23. And the yellow line is just giving me the real-time P&L of that option as we speak. Let me go ahead and add what's called a vertical slice or a price slice so that I can have more details as to what that P&L is. So I'm going to come over here to the section that says price slices, and I'm going to click on the 3 dots on the left-hand side. This is going to pin a line to the last traded price of Bank of America. So if you guys take a look at this vertical line, the vertical yellow line that was just added here to my screen, it's following the price of Bank of America. You can see it right there on the line. It's 23.82, which matches the 23.82 here. So that price slice allows you to see what the value is at the intersection. So now take a look here. This is based on the yellow line, which is plot number 1. Notice that inside brackets, it says days to expirations 23. And you can see your theoretical value right now is 0, meaning that you're not making any money. You're not losing any money if you were looking at the value of the option right now. But what happens if, and this is something that is very cool because you can create these scenarios and work on the analysis tab as a sandbox to see what effect would something on the underlying have on your P&L. For example, what if Bank of America stays at 23.84 all through expiration and October 16th, the price is still 23.84. What happens at expiration? All I need to do is come over here and change the plot to line number 2, which is expiration. The blue line you see here is expiration, and you can see that inside brackets it says days to expirations 0. And you also have a legend right here on the top left. You see the yellow line says now, the blue line says expiration. But notice that if the price were to expire at that same price, I would lose $60. Isn't that interesting? You know, it's an interesting way of looking at options and see what would happen to my option if the price of the underlying went in either direction. Now I can add more slices. I can click on the drop down here for pinned and I can say -5, last, and +5, and it gives me 3 different scenarios. If Bank of America drops 5%, if it gains 5%, and the effect that that would have on your P&L. For example, if Bank of America were to go to 25.03 right now, then I would have a P&L of $87 per contract. That's interesting information, and it's all possible right here by looking at the analysis graph. If I want to see these values at expiration, I just switch the plot to number 2, and this is what happens. If we drop, or if Bank of America drops 5%, my P&L here is a loss of $144. Now you can see also right here a calculated value that I look at all times. I look at this maximum loss right here, which is important to understand because that's your risk. That's how much you're risking. If I get into a call on the long side, all I'm able to lose is whatever I paid for it. This is how much this call would be, $144. Why? Because the price is $1.44. It represents 100 shares, and that's your maximum loss. All this can do is expire worthless, and that's all you lose. And that is why when you look at the graph, at expiration, we see a flat line around $144. It doesn't go any lower than that. That's your maximum loss. But on the other side, as the prices of Bank of America go up, then of course we start making money and more money. And you can see here that the maximum profit has the infinity symbol because Bank of America can go up indefinitely. So if there is a gain of $25, I'm sorry, if there's a gain of 5%, making Bank of America $25, I would have a P&L of $58. Now I can take this price slice and move it over here to the left. To the right. And let me bring the prices down a little bit. You can click and drag on the price here and push it in. Let me drag that vertical slice to 30. Approximately 30. Okay, that's 30.01. I can always, type in the price here if I want to, or adjust it with the directional arrows. But if Bank of America, let's say you're bullish Bank of America, if Bank of America were to go up to $30 and you hold this call with a strike price of 23, your theoretical P&L would be $555 per contract. So all that happens here in the analysis tab, where you can make projections of what is going to happen to Bank of America and how that would affect your P&L. Interesting information. So it's pretty much something that you can use in your options analysis. Let's go ahead and take a look at some other tools here inside of OptionStation Pro. I'm going to go here to the options tab, and I'm going to also trade the 24, but on the short side. So I'm going to come over here, go to market, and place that order.
Order filled.
Right here in the positions column, you can see how many contracts are holding on either side. So the +1 in blue just means that I have one contract long for that call, and the -1 in red just means that I'm short one contract for the strike price of 24. So it also gives you a visual. In fact, if you click on these little blue and red indicators, it's a way of you closing that trade as well. So it makes it very easy for you. When you have two different legs and you come over here to the Manage tab, you'll see the two legs right here on the screen. OptionStation Pro gives you the ability to build spreads out of what you have inside of your account. So I can take those legs and combine them together by clicking and dragging. Let me click on the short side of this trade and drop it on the long side. Notice that now I have a vertical because it's made up of two different legs. If I click on the plus here on the left-hand side, you can see the details of those two legs. But even though, and this is the nice part about OptionStation Pro, even though I traded those two legs separately, you saw me, putting market orders for each one. I can come back here to the Manage tab and combine them together and trade them as a vertical. So I can right-click and close the position if I wanted to. Now let me go back here again to Options. And let's go ahead and do another spread, but on the put side. Let's suppose that I'm going to go short the 25, and then I'm going to go long the 26. I'm going to hold down the Control key, click over here, and I'm going to fill this as a spread with a market order. Not ideal, but I just want a quick execution so that I can show what is possible here on the screen. I'm going to place the order.
Order filled.
I hear my audible confirmation that I have been filled, and I come over here to the Manage tab. In the Manage tab, I have the vertical, which I recently combined, and I have the two additional legs of my vertical. Do not be surprised at the fact that OptionStation Pro is going to split up your spread into individual legs. It's just a way of letting you know that you can do pretty much anything you want with them. Very quickly, I can click on one of those legs and drop it on top of the other, and then I have that vertical if you want to track it as a vertical. But you don't necessarily have to stop there. I can take one of these verticals and drop it on top of the other to combine it into a more sophisticated spread like an iron condor. So let's go ahead and click on vertical, drop it on the other vertical, and here we go. Now we have the iron condor in place, which I just managed by clicking and dragging my legs. The legs are still there. Technically they still form an iron condor, but you can literally drag the leg so you can have a visual of that iron condor. I can right click on that iron condor and say, I want to analyze this iron condor, so I'm going to analyze the duplicate. It takes me back to the analysis tab. Let me go ahead and remove some of my price slices. And I'm going to remove also the single call that I was analyzing earlier. So I'm going to right click and delete position. And now all I see is the iron condor right here on the screen, which is interesting because take a look at what happens on the yellow line. The yellow line barely touches the zero line. So if it was today, the chances are that regardless of where Bank of America goes, you're not going to make any money. In fact, if it goes down or if it goes up, you are going to lose more money than what it's happening at the moment, because that you see that rounded line that it's touching the zero. So on either side, there's more negative. The only place where you're going to make money here in this iron condor is somewhere inside this area. Now, where does that happen? Of course, it's going to be between specific prices of Bank of America, and not today, closer to the expiration. So as the price of the underlying stays where it is, so that's this strategy, the iron condor. What you're looking for is for the price of Bank of America to be somewhat stable, not move in a volatile manner and go outside this area. Because if it goes up over to this side, you're going to go and realize the maximum loss. And on the left side, the same problem. Although the maximum loss here is not that much, is $35, the maximum gain isn't either that much. It's about $65. But that maximum gain is only possible if the price of Bank of America stays here. I'm able to visualize that better by looking at a graph. So I do have to wait for this option or this spread, the iron condor, to approach expiration for me to have better opportunities of making money on that spread. Okay? Hopefully this makes sense. You know, this is all tools that are available to you so that you can analyze your positions and make some trades. If you're ready to trade anything that you put in here inside the analysis tab, you can right click on that and trade it if you want to. Other valuable indicators that I use in OptionStation Pro here in the options tab. Let me switch this to a different underline. I'm going to switch it to Microsoft. Whenever you click on a bid or an ask, you're going to see this red and green line on the left side of the strike column. That is telling you where the profits are and the losses are. You know, if the price of Microsoft goes down, you're going to be on the negative side of that line, the red side. But it comes to, there's a point where the line turns green. That is the break-even point. And it's somewhere between 207 and 210. That's the break-even point. Why? Because you're paying about $9.65 to get into this trade. So this is a very cool indicator that lets you know at one point or at what point your position starts making money. And if it's even a spread, it just recalculates. So let's say that I build a spread using the 210 or the 215 here. So notice that it adjusts the line, and my break-even point is a little bit lower because I went short one of the legs, so that's money coming into my pockets. So that's interesting to read. And you also see probability of price swings. Let me go ahead and take a look at more strikes here. So let me go here to 20 strikes instead. And I'm going to hide the trade bar at the bottom so you can see what I mean. Do you guys see this shade of gray behind strikes? The shade of gray just means expected move. So we're making a calculation in the back end on Microsoft and calculating what are the chances of Microsoft going in either direction. And it's based on this historical volatility percentage that you see at the very top. And it's also calculated as taking into account the implied volatility of the options. In fact, this percentage that you see here on the row for the expiration, it's the average implied volatility, which at this moment is 33%. If you look at the number here on the right-hand side, you're going to see what's called expected move. So based on the volatility of the options, or the implied volatility of the options, bank, in this case, Microsoft, is expected to move about $13.83. You have the plus and the minus because it could be in either direction. But this 13, or this plus and minus $13, is reflected right here inside this gray shade. So that you have this additional indicator that tells you what are the chances of the prices being inside there based on historical volatility. So those are nice visuals that allow you to do a little bit more intelligent decisions when it comes to trading, because you're doing it with additional information. Okay, let's see if I see any questions here in the chat. All right, let's see. Okay, so let's, for everyone that has any questions on the TradeStation platform, we have a Q&A session following this Getting Started class, the same Getting Started channel. If you're watching on YouTube, you have to come to the Getting Started channel to get your questions answered. The Getting Started channel is part of youcantrade.com. So just go to youcantrade.com and you'll find the Getting Started channel there. We do a Q&A session every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern time. So at any time, if you have any questions on any of the TradeStation technology, join me at 1 p.m. inside the Getting Started channel, and I'll make sure to answer your questions live. Okay, so let's see if I can show you something else. Let me go here to manage. I have my iron condor. I can right click and say close this position. This iron condor, if I get rid of it, it's generating a credit here of $1.33. I can shoot for a higher credit. Let's suppose that I want to have a credit of $1.50 instead of $1.33. I'm going to put in that order in there, and I'm going to place the order. And there we go. If I open up the received over here, you see my order for the iron condor. This is my Bank of America spread. I'm looking for a credit of $1.50. So it's not until all the legs on this iron condor align in order to generate a credit of $1.50 that my order is going to be executed. So this is another way in which you can set specific price exits on your trades. Okay. And I think that is it. That's all the information that I wanted to share with you guys. So if you have any questions, as I said earlier, please join me in the Getting Started channel Q&A session. Again, thank you for your time. And thank you for always being, a TradeStation user. So thank you so much for your time, and have a great afternoon. Hope to see you in a future event. Goodbye, everyone.